Okay, let's do it. Hey guys, what's up? This is Ivo Rainbow McLean for live once again, and I'm back with another movie review, and of course for more videos. And today I'm going to talk about, and it's gonna be my in-depth movie review, and a film that I really love, and that's the film that I'm talking about. Is actually Tango and Cash. 1989, which was released on December 22, and was the last movie that was released that year. And Tango and Cash, in my opinion, is criminally underrated. It's a classic body cop action film, and it's my favorite body cop action film. It's my favorite movie of all time, and I love this movie dearly to death. And I think that Tango and Cash is an 80s underrated classic film, because this movie gets shit on it. And yes, it's one of my favorite action films in top 20, and I love this movie dearly to death. And Sylvester Stallone and Kurt Russell team up, and of course today I'm actually gonna talk about, I'm gonna do more reviews on one of my another favorite actors that I love, one of my favorite action stars, and that's of course Kurt Russell. And Tango and Cash is my favorite Kurt Russell film. It used to be Big Trouble in Little China, but I think I prefer this movie because I have so fun with this film. And Tango and Cash, I think, is criminally underrated, and I'm actually gonna explain also why. But I'm just gonna go with why I think it's criminally underrated. Now, this is a body cop film, and I saw a few reviews, and people said that this movie is more humoristic, it's more comedic, it's not good as Lethal Weapon, because everyone's favorite, body cop film is Lethal Weapon. There are a few body cop films, and one of them is Lethal Weapon, which there are 4 movies. I actually heard that Mel Gibson's gonna direct the 5th movie, but there are 4 movies. There also we also have Rush Hour with Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. There's also I Come in Peace, which is another body cop film, and Showdown Little Tokyo, and of course Red Heat, which I forgot to mention, but yes, Red Heat is a body cop film. And of course Bad Boys trilogy. Bad Boys, the first one, stole the scenes from this movie, but people did not pay attention. But I'm just gonna go right now because I don't wanna mention this anymore. The reason was what was stolen. Remember the roof scene when Brian James, who plays Rakin, he's on the roof with Tango and Cash, and Tango grabs grenade, and he goes and ties him around his nose, and says, I want the whole package. And then he wants to blow his head off, because Rakin doesn't want to talk about it. And there's a bad cop, worst cop routine, and that scene was stolen in Bad Boys. And I would definitely not put Bad Boys in my top 5 favorite body cop films, not even in top 10 I'll put them. But yes, it was a stolen. Remember the scene when Will Smith was threatening the mechanic Jojo with 2 guns, he hold a fucking gun right under his neck, and he said he's gonna blow him. And that's actually bad cop, worst cop routine, They stole and imitated the scene from this movie. Bad cop, worst cop. That was actually stolen. It was stolen from Lethal Weapon also, in Lethal Weapon 2, And one of the writers was also Jeffrey Boom, but I'll get later into it. But yes, Bad Boys stole the scene from this movie and Lethal Weapon 2. Then there's another scene. Remember the scene when actually Catherine, played by Terry Hatcher, she's actually on Cash's back, and she's massaging him. She's giving him a massage, and in Tango's apartment, Tango sees an intruder aiming for the gun, and he runs, grabs the duck, breaks the door, grabs the guy. It turns out it's actually his captain, And if you remember the scene, Marcus Burnett goes and he climbs the window. He falls down. Will Smith sees him. He spots him. Will Smith goes after him, holds the fucking gun on his neck and says, "Police, please, police!" At that time, and of course, that time, Matthew Lawrence says, "The hell with the police!" and starts fighting with Will Smith because he thinks that he and his wife are having, an affair. And that was another scene that was stolen, but it was improvised, which was kind of different. And yes, I noticed it like two scenes that Bad Boys imitated and stole from those two movies, and I'm pretty sure they actually just made it different. But that's one of the reasons, and I read it, what's my problem that is underrated? It's like people say, oh, it's a comedic. Little Weapon is better. It's a comedic. It has a comedic humor. It's not good as Little Weapon. Little Weapon is better. I'm sure Little Weapon is everyone's favorite body cop film. My favorite body cop film is Tango and Cash. Yes, it used to be Little Weapon, but I actually it was been replaced with Tango and Cash. And my second favorite is Red Heat. I reviewed that movie last year. I explained I love Red Heat. I grew up with Red Heat. But Tango and Cash is my favorite body cop film, and it's my favorite Kurt Russell film. And of course, my third one number 3 will be Little Weapon, the first one. And number 4 and number 5, I'll put I Come in Peace, and I'll put Showdown in Little Tokyo and I Come in Peace for Brandon Lee. That's one of the reasons. But number 3, I'll say Little Weapon. But Tango and Cash is my favorite body cop film, and this is gonna be, my favorite. This is gonna be my favorite Kurt Russell film, and this is my retrospective, and of course my in-depth review on Tango and Cash. Now, like I said, I read an article that this movie is being considered one of the bad 80s movies, which I disagree. Some guy went and he talked shit about some movies that I enjoy, and Tango and Cash was one of them. I don't get it. Why is this movie a bad? I think it's a badass film. In my opinion, it's a badass film. And this is actually this year. I have not seen any of the Stallone films. Last year I did. This one was actually now the first time I rewatched, because every year I watch Stallone films because I'm a huge Sylvester Stallone fan. And Tango and Cash is actually one of my favorite Sylvester Stallone films, but it's not number 1. That still will be, number 1 will still be the Rambo films, Demolition Man and Cobra. But I'll put now number 4 definitely. But Rambo films are my favorite Sylvester Stallone films. But this is my favorite Kurt Russell film, and Kurt Russell is my favorite character of the two. And yes, people they don't think that Tango and Cash is a good body cop film. They don't think it's a good film because it has a comedy humor. I watched this movie as a kid and I liked it. When I was in high school, I thought that this movie sucks. But then I rewatched it and I said, damn, this movie is good, And the reason why I thought that was because, when I was a kid, I liked even shitty movie, I liked it. But when I grew up, I noticed the problems and what's not problems. And Tango and Cash is a really good movie. It's an entertaining, badass, body cop action film with humor in it. But still, it's a entertaining, badass action film. And yes, Tango and Cash, if you go and watch my collection of Stallone, you see that I only had a disc. I had to buy, the whole film, but now I do have this one. And Tango and Cash is just fantastic action film. I have always enjoyed it. My first Sylvester Stallone film was Rocky 4, and number 2 was Rocky 5. I regret that, but yeah, Rocky 4 was the first that I saw. Tango and Cash was actually the third movie, because I remember that I saw over TV and I screamed, "Mom, Rocky," because I saw Stallone in it, and I had no idea that it was this movie was titled Tango and Cash. I had no idea. But Tango and Cash is a badass film, and I remember taping it, and I've been always fan of this movie. And Kurt Russell just did a phenomenal job, but Sylvester Stallone was the gold. He kept this movie around. Now, MPA, were really bastards that time because they actually butchered Cobra. They had to do a lot of cut scenes so that the movie did got an X. So now, because this was, this movie was held by Warner Brothers, and producers were really, they were really struggling with MPA because they were afraid this movie will get an rated X, but it got later rated R because they had to cut scenes and edited the film. This movie had this movie actually had a lot of production problems behind the scenes, and it was directed by Russian director Andrei Konchalovsky, but actually the three directors directed this movie. By time, it was directed by Peter MacDonald, who directed Rambo 3, and by the finale, Andrei Konchalovsky was fired by producer Jeb Stewart and I think it was John Peters. But John Peters, not Jeb Stewart, John Peters. John Peters fired the director Andrei Konchalovsky, and later was, by the finale, was replaced by Albert Magnoli. He replaced, and so three directors actually directed the film. But yeah, this movie really, especially the script, had a lot of problems. I read that the script, Tango and Cash, had problems. And also Sylvester Stallone fired Barry Sonnenfeld. He was the director of photography. He was the director of photography, fired by Stallone, Barry Sonnenfeld. So it was someone else replaced, and also Tango and Cash supposed to star Sylvester Stallone and Patrick Swayze. But Patrick Swayze just suddenly dropped out of the project, and he decided to do Roadhouse, right there. He decided to do Roadhouse instead, so that's what he did. And they tried to find someone else, so Kurt Russell, he accepted the role, he was offered the role, he accepted the role. And because he was doing Tango and Cash, the producers asked him if he would be in the movie Bird on a Wire, but that he's supposed to play Bird in a Wire with his wife, his girlfriend Goldie Hawn at the time, but he was forced to turn down that movie. But he said, but he actually recommended Mel Gibson, which when he worked on Tequila Sunrise, on a movie Tequila Sunrise. So Mel Gibson got the part. He accepted the role right away when they offered him the Bird on a Wire. But Kurt Russell took this role, and I'm glad that he was. Over the years, back in 2019, 2020, Sylvester Stallone wants to do Tango and Cash 2. Because yes, I think this movie could have got a sequel. I would love to see a sequel of Tango and Cash, but that's not gonna happen. And Kurt Russell said no. Sylvester Stallone also asked him about if he would be in the Expendables playing Mr. Church, and Kurt Russell also declined. He said no. So the role went to Bruce Willis instead. I mean, they both worked together on Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 2, but they had no screen time that time. I mean, Stallone asked Kurt Russell to do a sequel, and he said no. It's actually kind of agree with Kurt Russell. It's way too late, but I would love to see the sequel in the 90s. With those two getting back. And Sylvester Stallone also said, that he's gonna do Demolition Man 2, but I think he's too old for the film. And yeah, but it's a body cop film, and Sylvester Stallone plays a cop who actually, he gets framed for a crime that he didn't. And director Andrei Konchalovsky, he wanted a serious dark tone. He wanted a serious tone, but producers disagree, so they fired him. And by the end, it was actually directed by Albert Magnoli, which he directed. But by time from time, Peter O'Donnell took over the role, the film. He took over the role of the as a director. Andrei Konchalovsky, he had actually missed tone with the producers, but he said that Sylvester Stallone was the voice of the reason, and he praised Sylvester Stallone. The same it was, with that director or producer on Cobra, when Sylvester Stallone was complaining to that guy, Rick White, and he went and yelled at him, and Sylvester Stallone became a professional, and he also said that he praised Stallone's performance. But in my opinion, they both did excellent. They both were awesome, and I just love this movie to death. This is my movie. It's right there, and I love Tango and Cash, and I wish that people would talk more about it. Rambo for Life, he did a review, 5 years ago. He actually did a review, Tango and Cash, and I tried to watch his video on it, but his video is so advertising with ads, with those ads, it's impossible to watch it. I tried. Every time he said a sentence, an advertising ad pop out, and that was actually my phone. And it kept continue until I just got frustrated and tired. Every sentence he said, an ad pop out in the video, so I just got tired. And with the later, the time he wrote my favorite body cop film, but now he doesn't talk that much about Tango and Cash. He said it was an article, and I thought, why not to do my own retrospective review, because I already did that, but I'm gonna change it, because this is actually, I'm gonna start doing reviews on Kurt Russell. It's not gonna be a lot, but those movies that I own, I'm gonna do a review, and I'll talk about the movie that I liked. And I started with Tango and Cash. Now, Big Travel to China was my favorite Kurt Russell film, but it's been replaced by Tango and Cash, because I love Tango and Cash. And of course, Little Weapon was my favorite body cop film. Now it's Tango and Cash. It's been replaced with Tango and Cash. It's an 80s action film. Now, in the opening scene, there is actually Palm Springs Freeway. It's actually Palm Springs Freeway. They actually filmed, and when we have Tango, he drives with his car. Tango, he drives, a late model Cadillac. He goes and he drives late model Cadillac. He goes in front of the car. I don't know why, but he goes. He carries a small revolver, Smith and Wesson, 36, and he reloads the gun and he starts firing. And when Face and his accomplice, they stop the truck, they both fly to the windshield. And that's a reference to Jackie Chan's Police Story. They actually used and stole the scene from the Police Story, but it worked. When those two fly through the windshield, which was a badass scene, and landed right on Stallone's feet, and that was just awesome. Just love that scene. Do the honor. Fuck you. No, I prefer blondes. I just love the dialogue between Stallone and Robert Esdar. Rest in peace, Robert Esdar. He passed away in 2015. He was Matt Cordell in Maniac Cop, so rest in peace. He played Face. Actually, Robert Esdar, he's supposed to have only one scene in the film, but he was very liked with director Andrei Konchalovsky and Sylvester Stallone. So Sylvester Stallone wrote a script and a draft in which Face had more to do in the film than only one scene. And the same was with Brion James as Rakin. He was also liked by both by Sylvester Stallone and director Andrei Konchalovsky. So Stallone wrote a bigger role for Rakin in the film. So that was awesome. But yeah, of course, that time when the county sheriff, because he was out of his restriction, and of course you have restriction, big city boy, this sheriff goes, I want your badge. We load the whole truck, asshole. There's nothing to it. I want your badge. I want your gun. I want your badge. I want your gun. I want your ass. Who the hell do you think you are? He thinks he's Rambo, which is not that scene. Rambo is a pussy. Shh, and shoots right in the truck. It's, look here, it's snowing. And it's like, I'll be dead. And he finds all the drugs hiding in the truck, which is awesome. It's a truck. It's a movie violation. To me, Tango and Cash is a lot better than Judge Dredd. That movie fucking sucks. This movie is better. It's a movie violation. And then that's actually introduction in Ray Tango. And Cash, is actually a badass cop played by awesome Kurt Russell. And Cash, he drives a classic Corvette, and he goes in his apartment. He's been shot by this guy, by this triad. He has been shot. Lucky he wears a bulletproof vest, and he uses exploding gun on the boots and shoots the guy. He goes after the guy. The guy tries to escape to the parking garage, steals the car, and Gabe Cash, he says that old lady, he says move, he grabs her, with his Ruger, with his revolver, Ruger GP100 with an experimental laser sight. That's the gun, with the experimental laser sight. He holds a Ruger, a gun, and he was just awesome. And he says that the lady pushes that wheelchair, with the cans. He goes and pushes us in the car. The guy played by Philip Tan, the assassin, tries to escape, and of course Cash, like a badass he is, he goes in the car, steals the car says move, and he goes and destroys the car, and the guy goes up, and says, you crazy guy, look what you do on the car, I'm for perestroika. And Kurt Russell goes like, welcome to America. I love this scene. I'm for perestroika. Welcome to America. I just love this movie. Badass, And that's we have an introduction, those two badass cops. And Lieutenant Raymond Ray Tango, LAPD is actually the West Side. He's the West Side, Los Angeles police lieutenant. He drives a late model Cadillac, wears 3 pairs Armani suits, dressed like a banker, makes a lot of money, carries a small revolver, Smith & Wesson 36, Not my type, sorry Sly. He also wears gargoyle glasses. In all his movies he wears the contact lenses. In this movie he wears gargoyle glasses. I love that he wears gargoyle glasses. This is my favorite character, Gabriel Gabe Cash. This is my outfit. This is how I dress like him, But I forgot to mention that Ray Tango lives with his sister in a beautiful apartment. Has a lot of money, dressed like a fucking banker, and he thinks he's the best cop, Yeah, and his sister rents a room from him. Now, Lieutenant Gabriel Cash, my favorite character, he's actually LAPD top cop east side of Los Angeles, and he drives a classic Corvette, wears tattered clothing, jeans, blue jeans and cowboy boots. And he has he also has he also wears a shotgun bullet on cowboy boots, carries a large revolver Ruger GP100 with an experimental laser sight, and lives in a backwater pad apartment, in a rundown neighborhood. He's not even that he doesn't make that much money. I love his outfit. I love his curly hair, his long curly hair. I just love his hair. It's just such a badass. And they both, they actually both rival. They're not partners. They don't like each other. They both rivals. They both think they're the best. Two LA top rival cops are going to have to work together even if it kills them. Which is true. They don't like each other. They're rivals. They're never partners. And they actually they are both narcotic cops. They think they're the best, and they actually both got a tip that there's a major drug bust deal going on. They both think that it's actually try to get a bigger fish. By arrest them. Unaware they both framed for a crime that they didn't committed. They found an undercover FBI agent being killed with a wire, and they can't figure out why is he wearing a wire, or why is he dead. And they both get arrested, and they both get framed for a murder they did not commit it. And this is another film in which Sylvester Stallone plays a cop that's been framed for a murder he didn't do it. The first one, I think this is the first one. Demolition Man was another film that he was framed. Judge Dredd, he was also framed for a crime he didn't do it. I think was 3 times. I think was Tango and Cash, Demolition Man, and Judge Dredd, in which he was framed which he played a cop, and he was framed for the crime he didn't do it. But yeah, and they go both to the court. They actually, they both admitted the guilt. They actually didn't do it anything. They were framed, but I love the lines. Jabba the Hutt's gonna get a visit. I'll bring the chainsaw. I'll bring the beer. I just love that lines. I'll bring the chainsaw. I'll bring the beer. I just love that. And when they have a speech, Tango has a nice speech. He says, I work for 9 years with all the great cops, I am just going to be a bad light on the department. And I love when Cash says, I have something to say. No, I have something to say. I'm going to be just such a great conversation like my partner Ray Tango, because this whole thing fucking sucks. I mean, it's the biggest pile of shit, he says right in the court. This case fucking sucks. It's the biggest pile of shit. I just love Kurt Russell. He's such a badass in this movie. Oh my god. So they actually go to the wrong prison, and they actually, there's this black guy. I couldn't find out who that black guy was, the prison inmate, and Cash wants to go pee, he wants to go to the bathroom and says, that black guy, the fat black guy says, hey, this is mine. That crapper is mine. I see what I'm gonna do. I don't give a shit, not in this crapper. And the Cash says, let me get something straight. The guy jumps up and says, that is yours. Then on the night he sleeps, Kudrasa goes with an elbow, starts punching him in the elbow. The guy goes and farts in front of Russell badass, And there's this guy, Slicky, he's actually a roommate of Tango. He's just awesome. Tango and Cash, they go both, through the halls of the prison, and all the dirt that's showing, and all the guys are saying, cops, Tango, I'm gonna make you stop. And the guy said, and I love it, face played by Robert Star goes, cops, and he keeps shaking the bar, says, cops, bring it to me, cops, bring it to me. And when then Tango approaches, the cell of Face, he says, "Come here, hey, punk, I'm gonna make you a new ass." "Oh really? Do you know Captain Dynamo?" "Oh yeah, I know you go with the barbarian." He goes, grabs him, breaks his goddamn nose, and says, "Me and an ass. If you need me and my ass gonna be in the neighborhood." He goes and breaks his goddamn nose. You just love that, And by the night when they try to sleep, they all both got captured, throw, in the, they actually throw in the halls, the prison. And I love when Cash says, it's a committed wagon, a welcome party, a welcome commitment board or something like that. I'm not really remember the line, but it was just awesome. So they found out the guy who set him up, and I just love Cash's lines when Rakin uses that long knife blade, and tries to goes and tries to slit his ear, his neck, and says, I don't care, you can play a basketball with my head, just don't let that I get killed by a slimy immigrant jerk-off. I want to be killed by American jerk-off. I just love that, you fucking maker, and when U.S. Perez he goes, when U.S. Perez says, we'll put this for a line, and there's like, and I just love, when Face shows up, like I said, Sylvester Stallone wrote a larger screenplay because he liked Robert S. Dunn. And I love Face lines, real badass cops. You're not so tough now, do you? Do you fuck? I think he's talking to you, Cash says to Tango, this pig and his cop, and this pig and his pig cop friends, they broke my leg, my arm, and my jaw. You broke that jaw? He deserves it. Why'd you do that? Why? Yeah, why? Because I had a bad day. Like now, they go to punches him. They both go and punches the guy. He falls down. Such a great scene. And they both try to escape. Some guy with a fucking baseball tries to clobber, Cash like a badass. Slides down, punches the fucking ball, uses the baseball bat, kicks the motherfucker's ass. Stallone goes like a badass. He slide, goes. Punches her, throws her right in the fucking glass like a badass in the washing machine, throws her like a badass. Then they both go capture it. They go into this water, the electricity. They've been both tortured with the electricity, with wires, in the water. Because if that would be for real, they both be dead. But actually, they've been tortured, but then saved by the real cops. And they're the best chances to escape, so they plan to escape. And I love the prison escape. This is actually the prison escape. And when they both go on the roof, it turns out that the friend Matt Sokowski and Cash were both friends because they want to kill them both. And they go in the roof. Tango goes and saves Cash. They go both on the roof. And I always thought, the scene when Kurt Russell runs and jumps and catches himself on a wire, I always tried to do that, as a kid. I always tried that because that looked like for real, and it was, but I think it was a stunt team that used that. You don't have Kurt Russell slides, and then he goes and slides down. When he jumps, you can see it's actually not. It's not Kurt Russell's a stuntman that jumps off really high on the feet. And I love when Tango tries to jump on the roof, but he's been captured. Face and Tango goes and fight each other. He uses a chainsaw. He goes and he stacks his leg, and Sylvester Stallone pulls the wire. The guy falls down in the wires and gets fried by electricity. And Stallone then jumps, on the lines, and he goes and drops him down. And they both escape, and then Sylvester Stallone lands on the back, and says, what did you do? And I love when Kurt Russell says, what did you do? You stop by for a coffee in Danish? And Sylvester Stallone says, I hate Danish. That's actually a reference to his ex-wife, Brigitte Nielsen. He hates Danish. So yeah, that's was the line. He was pissed the time. That's also Brian James, rest in peace, as Rakin, Gabe Cash, and of course Ray Tango, and these are the heroes. And yeah, they actually both escape and they go to separate ways. And I love, the scene when actually Tango goes to this house, to this guy. I forgot this guy's name. He was Agent FBI Agent Davis Roy Brocksmith. He was also later in Total Recall, and he opens. He goes and he closes the door, opens the car, tries to escape, but there's an explosion, and we see actually a stuntman, because we see a reflection of his face. He didn't know that it's gonna be soon that the door is gonna explode, because it was actually a real explosion, and the stuntman was flying when actually the whole door exploded when there's a bomb. But that was for real, and you can see a reflection of his face when he's flying. That was for real, almost been killed, which was awesome. In my opinion, it was all practical done that time. That time they weren't CGI. And of course, Cash goes and visits the guy Skinner, played by Michael Jeter, and he uses shotgun, blows the shotgun that was used later in T2 by Sarah Connor, and he gets all the tapes from him and Tango. And of course, Tango, he tries to escape. Tango, he tries to get to his sister, and of course, the sister has been played by Terry Hatcher. Actually, Daphne Ashbrook supposed to play sister of Ray Tango, but Terry Hatcher was later accepted because she looked like Sylvester Stallone, because they did not know that she's gonna have a bigger role in the film. But that was awesome. Terry Hatcher was a beautiful lady that time. She was beautiful. And while Cash goes to this club Cleopatra, and he meets he's been surrounded by cops, and he is looking for Catherine, finds out that that's actually Kiki, that she's with Tango. Kiki dressed like a motorcycle. Cash, he dressed like a girl, dykes on a bike. He sits on the motorcycle. He escapes. That's it. He goes and escapes. And she says, "Let's go." This cop goes and says, "Dykes on a bike, Captain." And the guy says, "There's a chance in triple," and they both show him cigarettes in his face, which is awesome. And Cash goes and shows them a middle finger. He escapes. And already mentioned the scene when Tango thinks that Cash and Catherine, they both have orgy they didn't had that, and and I love when Cash says, "Your girlfriend, my sister." What? My sister? That's actually the scene, another scene that was stolen from this movie, and that was in Hobbs and Shaw. That time when Dwayne Johnson said, "Your girlfriend," and she said, "Oh, that's you." She was sister of Jason Statham, that movie. But that scene, it was kind of borrowed. So Captain Schroeder, played by Jeffrey Lewis, rest in peace. He goes, as they find out, who's actually the mastermind. It turns out it's Rakin. They found the guy Rakin. I already mentioned that scene on the roof scene. And they found out this USB red. They go to the Ryko airfield. And then when they actually, on the final, there's a badass scene. There's tons of explosion, tons of shootouts. They go in the car. They fucks the car that was given by Cash's friend. They actually go and kills a bunch of bad guys. The Stallone and Kurt Russell fights, with Rakin and that guy Sonny. They both kicks their both asses. I forgot to tell you the plan B, asshole. This thing is a dot that shows you the grenade. The guy blows to pieces. Just awesome. Yeah, by the end, they found in the mirror, they found US Perez. He's holding a hostage, Catherine Kiki, and Stallone and Kurt Russell jumps. Kurt Russell goes on the floor, jumps, shoots him in the head. Stallone shoots him with a revolver 38, in the special 38, or actually was 36 at 38. 36 right in the head. They save Catherine, they escape. Whole Ryko Airfield is being blown to pieces. Whole factory, all warehouse is being blown to pieces because there's tons of weapons. It's blown to pieces, and Tango and Cash once again are heroes. And they start working together and the movie then ends, it's just awesome. I love the soundtrack, bad English. The best of what I got on the finale, and I love also the soundtrack by Let the Day Begin, the call that was in Club Cleopatra when Kurt Russell shows up. I love that song, but best of what I got by Bad English, I enjoyed it. The cast, like I said, Terry Hatcher got the role. They actually they wrote the screenplay, and Daphne Ashbrook supposed to play Catherine because they thought at first that's gonna be Tango's girlfriend, or they thought she's gonna be more estranged daughter or something. They actually when it was written to be his sister, Terry Hatcher had similar role as Tango, so that was awesome. I love, it was written by Randy Fieldman. Randy Fieldman wrote the screenplay, but Sylvester Stallone he co-wrote the story. It was produced by John Peters and Peter Guber, and the music was also by Harold Faltermeyer, but actually Gary Chang helped edit it, and he put some of his music score in it because Harold Faltermeyer had no time to return to do the score completely, because that time, like I said, there was trouble behind the scenes. And Gary Chan helped with the music score, but Harold Faltermeyer did a music score, and just love the music score. I love this poster. I love Sylvester Stallone's gargoyle glasses and his revolver, Smith & Wesson 36. I love Kurt Russell's revolver, Ruger GP100 with an experimental laser sight with a scope, which I love that. He's such a badass, and it's my favorite Kurt Russell film. And they both have excellent chemistry between those two. John Rambo teaming up with Jack Burton, Marion Cobra Cobretti teams up with Snake Plissken, John Spartan teams up with R.J. McGreedy. I just love this movie. It's such a badass film. It has a humor, but still a badass film. Brian James did a great job as Rakin, rest in peace. He passed away in 1999. He was also in 48 Hours and that movie Southbound Comfort. And he was in numerous of the movies, Brian James. He was in 48 Hours, another 48 Hours. Also rest in peace. Terry Hatcher, she was a beautiful lady. She did a great job in this film. Kurt Russell did the best performance. My favorite character he played is Lieutenant Gabe Cash. He plays East Side, Los Angeles, his East Side, So yeah, I just love that. Gangbusters, for anyone who likes body cop movies, is big. But yeah, I already said that I love the soundtrack by Bad English, the best of what I got, and Let the Day Begin, The Call. Jeffrey Lewis, rest in peace. He was in Double Impact with Van Damme, did a great job as Captain Schroeder. Jack Palance, rest in peace. He was in Young Guns. He did a great job in this movie. Jack Palance, when he went and wrote us, he signed the role for making this movie. He respected and loved Sylvester Stallone, but then he was so disappointed because all the scenes that they had, all the screen time that he was sharing with Stallone were deleted or cut of the film. He never even met Sylvester Stallone on the set of this movie because for the most the parts that he was in the film, Sylvester Stallone was not even near the film, near sharing the screenplay with him. So that's another bummer in the film, in my opinion. But yeah, James Hong, also who plays Guan, he also played with Kurt Russell in Big Trouble in Little China. When you see that Sylvester Stallone goes and shoots him with a submachine Heckler and Koch, it turns out it was a stuntman when the guy falls down, so that was awesome. You have a great cast. I thought that Roy Brocksmith did a good job as Agent Davis by Total Recall. Phil Rubinstein played Matt Sokowski, Assistant Warden. Clint Howard played Slinky. Michael Jeter played Skinner. Edward Bunker played Captain Holmes. Cash's commanding officer. Michael J. Pollard, Sasa Owen. In this movie, remember Michael J. Pollard when in I Come in Peace, Dolph Lundgren goes and puts the gun right in his balls. So that's the guy from this movie. He goes and plays Owen. He's an expert in weapons who works in the police warehouse, which is awesome. I'll bring the chainsaw. I'll bring the beer. Just love that. I tried to find out the actor in the open scene who talks to Stallone. We tried the whole we searched the whole truck, asshole. There's nothing to it. I want your badge. I want your weapon. I want your ass. Who the hell think you are? He thinks he's Rambo. Rambo is a pussy. I just love that. The guy who fights on the end, Sylvester Stallone is David Leah. He plays Sonny. Great choreography between those two. We also have Bigfoot sharks in this movie. And yeah, it's just... I forgot to mention, this movie, it was the last movie that was released in 1989. Was budget cost $55 million. Opening weekend US and Canada was $6 million. Gross US and Canada $63 million. So it made worldwide $63 million. So even though this wasn't successful, this movie in Cobra did a lot of money for this film. Sylvester Stallone fired director of photography Barry Sonnenfeld, already said that. Gary Chang provided additional music. Harold could not return, so that's awesome. Yeah, so that's awesome. Andrei Konchalovsky and Peter Gruber, Albert Magnoli, and of course Peter McDonald, they did a good job directing this film. And Sylvester Stallone was the voice of reason. Would really love to see the sequel of Tango and Cash, but that's not gonna happen. I just love Tango and Cash, one of my favorite Sylvester Stallone films, and one of my favorite Kurt Russell films. But yeah, like I said, I love the music score by Harold Faltermeyer, who was also provided with Gary Chang. I love this movie to death. So yeah, that's my in-depth retrospective review and my favorite Kurt Russell film, Tango and Cash. Thanks for watching, thanks for staying with me, and I'll see you soon with the next review, and I'm out. Take care, peace.